Hello journal buddy, it's Erin here, and I don't know about you, but I can't believe I'm setting up for November. It just doesn't seem possible, but here we are. I'm attempting to toe the line of the spring that we're currently experiencing in Australia and the Northern Hemisphere's autumn, and a significant amount of the goodies I'm using in this video are from this box of wonderfulness from themodernjournaler.com. So big thanks to Erica at The Modern Journaler and also at Modern and Analog on Instagram, not only for gifting me this lovely box of goodies, but also for giving me a discount code that I can then pass on to you guys for 20% off at themodernjournaler.com. Just pop in my discount code Erin20 and you can save some dollars and get some beautiful things. So before I shot this video, I actually worked out where I wanted all of my collage elements to sit on the page, and then I took a photo of it on my phone so that I wouldn't forget when I was picking up the layers and trying to put it all back down again. My last layout was very romantic and floral and vintagey, and I wanted to move kind of away from that, even though the color scheme is still quite feminine and romantic for this setup. I wanted lots of clean lines and lots of sharp edges, so I'm using a ruler for all of my lines. I've got 3 Tombow pens that I've specifically chosen to match my Modern Journaler beautiful goodies. And I'm doing all of my lettering for this setup with a set of lowercase letter stamps as well, which I picked up from Stationery Pal a while ago, and you've probably seen them on my channel before. I recently became one of those people who spends hours wrapping their washi tapes around bits of plastic to make it easier to store because it takes up less space now. The washi tapes that I'm using at the moment are from Shein and Daiso, but they're the kind of washi tapes that you can sort of find anywhere online. Any of the affordable bullet journaling kind of places online should have this sort of thing. I'm using them as a subtle underlayer that's going behind everything on the page so that there's a little bit of negative space filled up, but not in a way that's overwhelming to your eyes. Of course, as always, everything that it's possible for me to link you to in the description, I will make sure that you have a link to it there. As always, I'm pairing up my ARTISTRO brush tip paint markers with my letter stamps because it's my favorite way to stamp things. I like that just by having a box of markers, which I find more versatile than stamp pads, I can have an array of colors to stamp with in my drawer without needing to buy a bunch more stuff, which is very helpful. This is technically the metallic black marker, but it just comes out looking like a really lovely soft black on the page, so it's my favorite for if I want a letter with black rather than a solid deep black. I find this much softer. On the left page, I wanted to add in a quote. I don't always do a quote page and a cover page, but I have enough pages left in the back of this book to get me through to the end of December and still have some left over, so I thought a quote page is the way to go so that I'm not wasting too much paper, and also it's really fun to do. Again, my quote is kind of trans-seasonal. It's despite the forecast, live like it's spring, which I feel like is good advice regardless of the time of year, even though it is spring over here for me. I'm setting this up in mid-October and the jacarandas are starting to bloom, and my city is exploding into purple and Mitsu's here to celebrate with me, so if a floral jacaranda layout sounds a bit more like your kind of thing, check out my layout that I did last year. I will pop a link to it up in the top right corner so you can see I did a jacaranda theme and I was really proud of it. These 2 spreads have mostly a combination of the journaling cards and the ticket sets from the Modern Journaler, as well as of course the washi tape underneath, and I'm also adding in some other stickers. These ones are from, same as the washi tapes from earlier, stuff you can get anywhere. And because of the mention of spring, I wanted to add a few little florals in here, so I'm stealing some of the just black and white with gold accent, tiny little floral stickers off the Washi Tape Shop's Delicate Floral Wreaths washi tape set, just one of those rolls in particular. And these stickers are also from the Modern Journaler. They're a transparent little PET sticker, and I just thought they gave the most fun little abstract pop of random shape because everything is so rigid and linear. I wanted to bring some roundness, I guess, in a subtle way onto each of these spreads, so this is how I'm going to do it. I'm really enjoying the contrast in textures with like the vellum of the journaler tag. This one is a handmade paper, and I found out the hard way that this kind of beautiful paper is not really amenable to glue tape, so I've kind of gone makeshift here. I don't own a regular glue stick anymore because I find glue tape so very much better, so I'm just using some normal sticky tape and looping it around on itself and using that to stick this down into my journal. I hadn't been planning to use any more washi tape on this spread, but I decided I was going to need it in order to have this not stick up from the page, although I don't mind the dimension of it having a little shadow behind it. I just wanted to keep things really flush and flat so that nothing gets caught as you turn the pages, you know what I mean. My kitty Mitsu was being uncharacteristically patient over there on the left side, just sitting and watching, which is very nice. Do you also have a pet who journals with you or who likes to interrupt your journaling? Let me know in the comments down below. That create frame in the top right corner I thought was so pretty. It's transparent, but I thought it needed a little something in it. So I've pulled out some PET floral stickers and I'm just sticking one of those in there as well. Sticking to the color scheme. It's lucky I already own quite a bit of a pink stationery, so this has worked out quite nicely. 3 more of my little circle clear stickers. I'm literally just peeling these up as is in order off the sticker sheet, so I'm not thinking too hard about the placement of the colors. And then we're going to move on to the calendar spread, which is a double page spread. I'm really trying to stay away from using black lines for anything in this setup, so I'm going in with this grey-green Tombow dual tip brush pen using the bullet end of the, not the brush end. It's number 228 in case you were wondering, and I actually took that dotted sticker sheet into Officeworks with me and swatched all of the pens to find 3 that I thought would work well for this layout, so guess who likes buying stationery a little too much? I'm guessing if you're here watching this, then you can relate. These calendar boxes are quite small. They're 4 spaces by 4 spaces, which means I have lots of negative space left over around the outsides of the calendar for decoration, which is exactly what I wanted. I didn't realize it at the time that I was drawing these random lines around. At the moment, I'm using a grey Tombow dual tip brush pen in N79 to do this. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was kind of accidentally setting up the framework for my mood tracker, which is to come on a future page that you'll see very soon. I really went into this not knowing how I was going to do a mood tracker. Nothing had come to me, no inspiration had hit, but these lines, I just wanted a little something. I don't even know, it's not really a textural element. I just wanted some lines that weren't functional on the page so that I had a vessel to put those circle stickers on top of, and it ended up being a really good idea. So just goes to show that the easiest decoration can sometimes be really effective. I've masked off the area that I wanted to highlight with this other Tombow pen here as the area where I'll write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday above the boxes so I know where I am in the month. This is the Tombow 910, which I believe they call opal, which I think is a very interesting choice because this is not a color that I think of when I think of opals, but sure, why not? But by masking those areas off with the washi tape, it means I can get a really clean straight line, which, as you know, is something that I really wanted for this setup. But you gotta be careful when you're peeling the washi tape back up, as you will see in a moment. So I'm doing the Monday here. It's down a level from the rest of them because the first Monday of the month doesn't start until the second week. And when I peel up that top one, it takes off some of the paper, which is really frustrating. And now that means I need to put some decorations. Well, I don't need to, I could choose to just live with it and be okay with it, but I want to put some decoration over that spot, which means it's got to get quite close to the functional calendar setup, and that's not what I had been planning to do, but it's what we're gonna have to do now. So interesting stat, about half the people who watch my videos are not actually subscribed to me. So if you're new here, or if you've been watching for a while and you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, this is just your invitation to maybe hit subscribe and stick around and be part of my little YouTube family, because we're very nice and very sweet and I would really love to have you. This washi tape with the adorable combi vans on it is from the Washi Tape Shop's Adventure set, and at the time I opened these I was like, I don't see myself ever using these. This is not really an Erin washi tape, but the colors are so perfect for this setup, and I thought that they were such a cute design that it kind of came together okay, actually, which is interesting because I would not have thought I'd be reaching for this washi tape for this setup, but it really does work. I am eschewing my usual curly handwriting for just a very quick, easy handwriting style for the names of each day of the week here, and I've used the Tombow Fudenosuke hard tip brush pen for that, but just wrote the way I normally do, so it has some textural variety, but it's not too perfect either. I wanted it a bit messy and a bit careless to, I guess, contrast with all that precision that's all around. I believe I bought this pink chevron washi tape in Japan at Tokyuu Hands in Tokyo in like 2017, so guess who's still hoarding stationery? Hi. This next page is for goals, musings, and currently. So might sound a bit strange. I don't think they're the most orthodox bullet journal things to have on one page together. Goals is pretty self-explanatory, I feel. I like to set monthly goals, preferably ones that align with my overall full year goals or my 6 monthly goals, to kind of break it down into smaller parts and keep me heading towards those. Otherwise, there's a good chance I'll forget and to just not look back at that part of my journal. And I'm highlighting the top of each of these boxes with that same peachy opal apparently coloured marker. I'm doing this thing where I make it kind of a gradient, so I'll go over the bottom line a couple of times and then I'll put a single line above it, and that's going to be a thing that I do quite a bit throughout the rest of this setup. I kind of love how it looks. The musings section is like a tiny brain dump where I just note down a couple of things that are on my mind that month, and the currently section is for anything that I'm enjoying at the time, so books, music, TV shows, particular food groups, like whatever it is goes there. This is pretty much the exact same layout that I used for this page for my October setup as well, but it looks completely different when decorated in a different way. And I just love that about bullet journaling, that you can take the exact same page month after month and it will look and feel different, but it will work in the same way. And that's really special, if you ask me. Last month, I hand drew my habit trackers for the first time in ages, and I thought they worked best with the theme, but I was like, I'm for sure printing them again next month. So I've busted out my PHOMEMO MO2 mini printer and my calendar template, and I've put the numbers on it for November, and I'm thermal printing them because I'm a lazy girl and I do not like to write a whole lot of numbers out by hand, unless it's the very beginning of the year. For some reason, I'm willing to do it for my initial bullet journal setup every year, but after that, I'm like, no. There is a link in the description to this calendar in case you'd also like to print your November calendars for your habit tracker or wherever else in your journal setup that you might like to use them. And I also have links to the PHOMEMO printer and the paper that I'm using, as well as a discount code for these. So if you'd like to get yourself a thermal printer and never have to deal with the agony of writing out all the numbers on your habit tracker ever again, then you can do that. I always find this page a little bit tricky to decorate because the stickers are going to cover quite a bit of the page space and take up a lot of room, so I don't want to take away from that and overcomplicate it. I don't want it to end up looking really busy and hectic, so I'm sticking to the most subtle of washi tapes for this one, just lining the left and right sides of the page. I think it's cute. This is probably just a me thing, but I don't especially like to write on top of washi tape, and I've set it up so that the headings for each of these habits here will probably have to sit on top of some washi tape. So I've decided I'm going to use some tiny post-its and cut them in half. I recently picked up this paper cutter thing. I'm not going to recommend it because it broke the first time I used it, so I'm not going to link to that because I don't think you should buy it, to be honest. I kind of regret it, but it does work. It's just the blade falls out of it every time you pick it up, so that's not great. I'm using it here to cut these flag post-its in half. I also used these in August, so if you're seeing them and being like, hey, that looks familiar, that's why. They were also in my August setup. And it did make it easy to cut them in half, but you could also do that with scissors and it would be just fine. So, you know. I'm leaving the habit headings blank for now because I don't know exactly what I'm going to want to carry with me into November from October. I might have some new habits. I set myself up for 8 habits for October and I only used 6 of them, so I've brought it back down, which is useful because with this size calendar I couldn't fit 8 on the page anyway. So I'll fill those in closer to when November actually starts, because I always kind of set up the next month at the beginning of the prior month. So, you know, there's a good 3 weeks at the time that I'm setting this up for me to work out what habits I'm going to want to track when I get there. And I really wanted to make sure these little circles are represented on every page. So here they are, making an appearance on the habit tracker. And I'm going to change my mind about where I want them to sit, because of course I am. My next spread is my content planner, which is one of my favorite spreads. I use this so much throughout the month. I like to schedule all of my social media content in advance, so YouTube videos as much as possible, although it's not always possible, Instagram posts for both of my businesses, stuff like that. So having a place to write it down as I set it up makes me visually realize like where I need to be inserting more content and where I need to be maybe thinking about things further in advance and stuff like that. So I'm using that same grey Tombow to set this up for the calendar lines, and I've made these ones big boys. These are actually 6 spaces by 6 spaces, which is bigger than the calendar where I write my actual events for the month. Not me completely giving up on this paper cutter thing and going back to scissors because they're apparently superior. And I messed up at the top and made that top line go too far over to the left. It was actually supposed to stop because the first day is Tuesday in November. So I'm covering it up with some stuff, and I think I did a pretty good job this time. I don't think it looks too much like I'm hiding an accident at all. I actually used to color code this page with friction pens because I had 4 different sort of social media accounts that I wanted to track, but I found that I kind of know just from context clues about what I write down, what I meant at the time that I wrote it, so I'm not using the friction pen system anymore, but who knows, I might go back to it, things change. And I also forgot to leave a space to put the name of each day of the week along the top, so there's no Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but I always start my weeks on a Monday, so I know what was supposed to go where, so it's fine. My trusty reliable spending log, which never ever changes. Just like always, this is going to be the same spending log that I always set up. So this ends up a pretty busy page full of data, so I like to keep the decorations pretty minimal. I also don't like them to take up too much page space because I need the page space to track the spending. So just a little bit of washi at the bottom this time, and enough space up the top to leave a spending header. And then I'm going to use, once again, the grey Tombow dual brush pen to outline 2 tables. It's the exact same table on the left side as the right side. I just used to do this across 2 pages, and I realized one time that I could do it across 1 page and condense it and save some space, and so that's what I've done ever since. So around about once a week, I go through my spending history in my bank apps on my phone, and I write down everything that I bought and how much it spent, and I put it into a category, and at the end of the month I tally it all up and put it in an overall spending tracker that's at the very beginning of my first bullet journal for the year. And then at the end of the year I have all this amazing data about exactly where all of my money went, and I've been doing it for 3 years now, I think, which is great because I have a lot of context around it now, and it's helped me to make better financial decisions, which is always nice. I realized here that I forgot to put any of these circle stickers on the content planner, so I've just quickly jumped back to it and I'm adding them on so that all the pages can have that little bit of consistency, which is nice. I feel like these circle stickers just give this setup the most modern kind of feeling. It could be anything else, and as soon as you add those circles, it's like, oh, it's modern. Cool, we get it. So of course we got to put some circles on the spending tracker page as well. I mentioned earlier I had no idea what I was going to do for my mood tracker this time, and I'm actually going to skip the page and go ahead and set up my weekly first because I still haven't worked it out at this point, but it's okay, we're going to get there. We're just going to do it out of order this time. So for the weekly, I'm doing this 8-box kind of layout, but I'm doing it across 4 boxes because that's more economical. So it's kind of the same setup that I used for my first October weekly, which you can see in my October Plan With Me video from last month if you want to. You start by drawing out these 4 long skinny boxes, and then you work out where the middle is and you decorate across the middle of the page, and that essentially leaves you with 8 boxes without you having to necessarily draw all of those lines for the 8 boxes. One thing about these adventure washi tapes from the Washi Tape shop, which is the one with the combi on it there, they also have, you can see another one in the top left corner there, they're tents and stuff, and there's another one with mountains that's a little bit out of frame. They're beautiful, but they really only work horizontally, so you gotta be a bit careful about how you place them. I mean, I guess technically there's nothing to stop you setting them up vertically, but combis don't typically drive directly up flat surfaces that are not the ground. So, you know, I just thought maybe not. Obviously there are 8 boxes here, but only 7 days in the week, so I'm going to use the last box as my notes section. And I did that last month and I really thought, like, this is just gonna sit empty on every spread, and then it did not. I used it, so it's making a recurrence. A comeback. It's coming, it's in this setup too. My god, you turn 35 and you can't speak anymore. Speaking of which, it's my birthday today. If you're watching this the day that the video goes live, hey, thanks for hanging with me on my birthday. That's pretty cool. I had a spread in my October setup which was specifically for birthday celebrating purposes that I called 35 Things I Love, where I will write down 35 things that I love in celebration of myself. Very self-indulgent, and I'm excited and looking forward to it, so that's something that I'm gonna do today. Instinctually, I want to make the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday the left page, but because of the decoration I put on the left side, Friday is a shorter word, so I knew it was going to fit into the space better, so I decided we'd just go horizontal left to right all the way across, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on the top line, even if that means going onto the right page, and so on and so forth. And now it's time to go back and sort out this mood tracker. It must have been something about those decorative lines that are behind things on the previous spreads, because I don't know, it just hit me. I actually went away and had some lunch while I was setting this up, and I was like, you know what, I think I've got it. A series of tubes. Not really, but this is actually one long continuous line that crosses over itself many times. Actually, it ended up being too many times, but don't tell anyone. And my idea here is that everywhere those crossed over lines make an enclosed space, I will color that space in with one of my mood tracker colors for the month. So it's still kind of illustrative, sort of. It's gonna end up a little bit of art in my journal at the end of the month. It's just modern abstract art this time instead of a pretty little flower or something, so I think it's still gonna work. I'm gonna have a few blank spaces left over, but that's okay. Nobody needs to look that closely except for me. The swatches down the side are for my moods. I forgot to put what they'll be, but the top one will be happy, the bottom one will be sad, and the one in the middle will be meh. And I always like to put the color that I like the most for the meh mood, because that means I'm probably gonna use it the most, to be honest. And we gotta have the circle stickers or it's not a page in this setup. That's just the law now, and I made the law, but I'm sticking to it anyway. And that's it for my November 2022 bullet journal setup. Thank you so much for planning with me, and thank you again to Erica at themodernjournaler.com for sending me the beautiful goodies that I used quite a bit in this setup. I love them so much. Once again, there are links to everything I've used to set this up in the description, as long as they are things that I can link for you, and you can also find me on some other places on the internet in the description too. A virtual high five to you, my friend, for making it all the way to the end of this video. Leave me a high five emoji in the comments down below so I know that you made it all the way here. If this was your first time here, don't forget to hit subscribe so you can see new stuff from me in the future as well, like live streams and more videos every week, and I hope to catch you again in another video really soon. Bye!